Right, so with facial expressions, what I often see a lot of people do is they'll remove the masks from your FX layer. So the masks are these bits here, or they'll just remove the idle state, etc. Things like this don't prevent bugs. So one of the big problems you'll come into with your models is VRChat release updates, and updates do break things. So a lot of the times you'll use older packages and the facial expressions will merge together, or you'll use one particular expression and it will get stuck there, and the other ones will just endlessly merge into it until you get a really weird face, and the only way to undo it is to reset your model entirely through the handheld system. So this is how I set up facial expressions to completely ignore any of those problems, and I've never encountered any issues with the facial expressions on my models. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. So first of all, you're going to want to get yourself the FX layer if you don't already have it on your model. To grab it in the new VRChat creator companion, you're just going to click the packages tab in the corner. Let me just actually make this viewable. Hold on. There we go. So yeah, click the packages tab in this bottom corner, and then it'll bring up all of these. You're going to want to find the VRChat avatars folder. Go to samples. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. It is samples. Yep, samples, AV3 demo assets, animation, controllers, and then you want to find the avatar v3 hands layer 2, which is usually the fourth one. Press Ctrl D to duplicate, and then just rename this FX layer or whatever you want it to be, and just drag it into your 3.0 folder. And then opening this up, let me actually just grab one of those new ones. We'll just name this test so that I can show this properly. Facials, there we go, test. So opening this up, by default, you'll have the all parts left hand, right hand, and in these cogs, we'll have VRC hands only, VRC hand left, and VRC hand right. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to create a new layer, and I call it reset. Because this is basically going to tell your facial expressions when your hands aren't doing anything to reset to the avatar's default state. That's what often causes a lot of the merging together, is that your avatar doesn't have anything to tell it to reset back to, the default position. So that's how you get a lot of issues. So to create the reset state, you're going to want to duplicate your avatar, never animate on the original, always make a duplicate. And then you're going to right click, go to create animation. And we're going to call this test reset. I usually just name it reset, but I'll just name it test for this. Drag it onto your model, and then click on your animation tab. If you do not have the animation tab here already, just go to window at the top, windows, and then animation. Okay. You'll have the add property button, so we're going to click it, and then your armature and all of your assets and such will appear here. Wherever your asset which has your facial expression shape keys on, you need to find it. You might have this called your head, you might have it called your body. For me, it's my body, so we're going to click on that. And then you'll have a drop down called Skinned Mesh Renderer. This has all your shape keys under it. So we're going to click that, and you'll see all of your blend shapes just here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select all of these expressions. So clicking on the first one, which is blend shape cat face smile, we're going to scroll all the way down and then shift click right above where the VRC shape keys are, because we don't want to include these. Okay, so once we've selected all of these, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to uncheck anything which affects the body and not the face. So a lot of things will have sliders to add, squish to the thighs if you're wearing thigh highs, or to increase or decrease the shape of the body. So we're going to uncheck those because we don't want them to reset if we're using a facial expression. So I'm just going to go through and find them. Usually that includes the ears as well, if that's something that you usually have edited on your model. So booba, thigh squish, there we go. So now that we've unselected everything, right click and just click add properties, and this keyframe on 1 minute, you just want to delete it. You only need 1 frame, and that's it. So now everything on this animation is set to 0 for the face. So now we're just going to find our FX layer, go to the reset layer, make sure that on this cog that the weight is turned all the way up to 1, and then we just drag and drop that reset layer in there. So now that will do its job automatically. Right, the next thing that you need is you need to replace this mask on your FX. So we're just going to right click, go to create avatar mask. I'm going to call this test empty, and click the drop down box for humanoid, and literally just click anywhere on the outside in this gray area and it will turn this character red. Click this drop down box for transform and find your FX for your avatar, so your FBX, sorry. So for me it's called Ion by Future v3, so we're just going to click it, import your skeleton, and then scroll down and click toggle all so that all of these boxes are unchecked. And now that's ready to use, so all you do is click the cog, click this little ball next to the mask, find it, and then just make sure you set all of these cogs to your new mask. Right, and now the last but not least is for your actual facial expressions. So in terms of your idle state, you don't want anything in the idle state, but you can't just leave this box empty or you can run into issues. You always need some kind of animation there. So how do we add an empty animation? We create a idle with basically an invalid entity in it. So we're going to create a new animation, and again I'm just going to call this test idle, drag and drop it on your avatar, and then in animation we're going to add property again, find literally any asset on your avatar, it doesn't matter which one it is, and then the is active button, we're going to click the plus next to it. This will bring this keyframing up. We're going to delete the one on 1 minute, and then on the name of our imported asset we're going to press F2 to rename, and I just called this underscore invalid. The reason we do this is because when something is not physically on your avatar, when it's not named the exact same thing, the game object will turn yellow saying that this object does not exist, we cannot animate it. So chances are on your avatar you're never going to have anything mesh wise that is called underscore invalid. So I always call it this to avoid any possible confusion, and that's it. That's all you need for your idle. So now going into your FX layer, we're going to go to the left hand and we're going to drag and drop our idle layer into these sections. And for the rest of these animations, you just do everything as normal. So create your blank animations, drag and drop them onto your avatar, and then all you're going to do is press this little record button, and then move your camera so you can actually see the face. Go to where your facial expression shape keys are and find the blend shapes drop down tab in your inspector, and then all you're going to do is record yourself moving the shape keys you want influencing your model from 0 to 100, or however far you want it to be. If you only want things to be a little bit, then just drag it to wherever you want it to be. When you're done animating, just uncheck the record button and then just drag and drop it in whichever slot you want that facial expression to be on. And that's how you do facials.